Welcome to the Wokest Warren, where we have the Wokest Discourse. Today, I'm just going to share with you briefly some things that I discovered on my genealogical journey. I started doing my genealogy because me and my mom want to take a trip to Croatia, which is where her family is from. And she has been talking on 23andMe with people who are our cousins back in the old country. And she's like, I want to go there and meet with them, like sit down, bullshit, have a drink. And I'm all about this. I think it'll be fun because I love friends. I love making friends. And what's better than making friends that you're like related to? That's just an interesting novelty. I've met a lot of my relatives here in Ohio, so why not go meet the ones in the old country? Anyway, my family is Croatian on my mother's side. But, I'm doing this Ancestry.com thing, and there's so much information over here. I'm trying to focus on my mother's side of the family. And there's so much information that keeps popping up on my father's side of the family that it's the curiosity was getting to me. I'm like, I'm not focused on this right now. I'm not trying to do this right now. I'm trying to focus on this. But you just wonder what's over there when you go back generations. Like, I never considered about being white. I thought, it would go back a couple generations and it would go back to a boat in Ireland or England pretty quickly. Now, I followed Effie Mears's line, and his indeed does go back to Ireland during the potato famine. So that's fairly recent in American history, right? Civil War era. What surprised me was on the English side that the ancestors kept going back. Like, I got to the Civil War and it kept going back. And then it kept finding another generation and it kept finding another generation. And it was no surprise to me that my family was from West Virginia. I'd known that my whole life. What I didn't realize was that they settled in what became West Virginia. At the time, it was just Virginia. They settled there after the Revolutionary War. Now, there was a lot of people that settled in West Virginia after the Revolutionary War. And my family also was part of the Ohio frontier, which was in southern Ohio. Land was made available after the American Revolution. When George Washington went and surveyed southern Ohio, they sold that land and gave that land away to veterans of the American Revolution. So I discovered that since my ancestors fought in the American Revolution, they were part of this migration wave of people that came to West Virginia. And some of them crossed the Ohio River to fight Indians and steal their land. I wasn't ready for that. I did not have any idea about my ancestors being frontiers people. I had assumed that they had settled in Western Virginia after the genocide had taken place, but as it turns out, my family were active participants in the genocide. Kept going back. Found several members of my family that were in the American Revolution. Kept going back. And it was like steady in Connecticut, Rhode Island, Connecticut. And I'm like, how do I have this WASP background? I'm a hunky kid from Youngstown. And I cannot, as of yet, trace my ancestors back to the Mayflower, but I did trace them to a 1638 boat trip from England that carried a guy and his wife who were Puritans and their 9 children. And this is one of my ancestors. I had a Puritan ancestor who came to the United States on a ship in 1638 from England. And he was a cloth draper and cloth merchant. And that just blows my mind completely. Blows my mind. Because you read all this shit about pilgrims when you're in first grade and you're like, that's all fantasy. That's all just some insane white story about, whitewashing genocide, about how everybody sat down for the Thanksgiving meal when in reality they were murdering Pequot Indians in, I believe, Massachusetts. So I'm going to have to break this down, and I'm discovering that all of my knowledge, all of my revolutionary and prior American history is all wound up in the perspective of Native Americans and of enslaved Black people. Those are the historians I study. I study Black historians. And I study historians of the genocide. And so it's going to have to make me step outside of myself to actually start looking at American history from the perspective of a white person. And it's kind of scary. And I'm kind of afraid that if I put on the glasses, that I won't that I'll lose a part of myself. I'll lose the part of myself that rejects that white supremacist ideology. But I'm going on this journey. I am putting on the glasses because it's a learning journey. I need to find out more about white supremacy. If we're going to fight it, if we're going to beat it, and we're going to win, we have to know the enemy. So over the next couple months, I'm going to be taking a deep dive into getting to know the enemy in my own family tree. Speaking of immigrants, did you know that ICE agents have a quota that they have to meet, that they have to arrest in order to get their bonus, to keep their signing bonus? They have to arrest 8 people every single day. So they have to do this for 5 years in order to qualify for the bonus. Well, somebody did the math and figured it out that if all 30,000 ICE agents or 20,000, I don't know if they did the math before the additional hiring of the 10,000 new guys, but if all 20 to 30,000 of these ICE agents arrested 8 people a day, that within 5 years, 1/2 of the entire population of the United States would be in jail. And what I want you to think about is a time in American history when 1/2 of the population was in jail. Ding, ding, ding. Yes, it was slavery times. So what the Trump administration, Stephen Miller and his goons, are admitting to us is that this is their plan to bring back slavery. And I don't just mean 3% of the population who are working in private prison labor. Okay, although that is lucrative and they love that. They love it so much. It's their favorite thing, getting other people to work and not paying them. They love that. But this is not just about enslaving a small number of criminals. This is about putting in jail half of the population. And I want you to think, what half of the population are they talking about? Because I don't think they're talking about white people. Now, does that mean that there aren't white people that are being detained right now? There are white people that are being detained right now. There are white people that are being enslaved right now in the United States, in our prisons. But what I'm saying is they are trying to turn back to racial slavery, race-based slavery. So I don't know about you, but I think this is a really good time for me to study my white ancestry, to understand how they were convinced to participate in this unjust system. And what is really, really cool, I don't know if you know this, they offer genealogy classes at the Warren Trumbull County Public Library. They have an entire local history staff that will help you if you are interested in studying your genealogy. And they have, if your family is from Trumbull County at all, they have just such a wealth of historical information there. And it's free. It's totally free. So I recommend, go to the library and start looking stuff up and see what you find about your own family. I think you'll find some dirty shit in there, just like in the Epstein files. Did you read that Donald Trump raped a child by putting his penis in their mouth, and they had to bite Donald Trump's penis to try to escape, after which they were beaten? That's in the Epstein files. That is in there. Donald Trump is a rapist and he is a pedophile. Just in case, you didn't hear that on the news. Thanks for listening.